Good morning. I'm Shelley Sage. I'm serving as worship associate today. I can't recall not loving books. Books in my life were completely tied to my mom's older brother, Quentin, a professional librarian through and through. Quentin could read a story. I get goosebumps even now, even thinking about the feelings generated when he would say things like, the great, gray, green, greasy Limpopo River. My mom read a little bit too. I was curious if anyone here might remember two of my favorite old children's books. One was called The Slant Book, about a baby carriage that gets away on a hill, and the book is printed like this. It's really kind of special. Another one I loved was called Millions and Millions of Cats. I have a roommate moving in just this month, and now we're a 4-cat home, so I'm on my way. My mom wasn't a librarian, but she was a band kid, and she could read a story. She could make it live. So I can't recall not loving, not revering books. But things really perked up for me when I moved to Gresham in first grade. My first library was a bookmobile. Do you guys, anybody have a bookmobile library? So much goodness crammed into that little space. It was just fabulous, wondrous place. I loved the library so much. I went to a grade school in Vancouver where the library was the center of the building, and the classrooms came out like flower petals off of the library. It was wonderful. It was also the 70s, so you know it was sunken. Right. I met my first love in the Grant High School library. I had never seen anything as remarkable as the downtown library that first time. Those stairs. Oh my God, that card catalog, that huge, enormous piece of furniture, the 2 sections. The rooms, the files were so vast, the stacks, the vacuum tube system. Holy moly, that place was just glorious. I trust librarians. I hope librarians are maintaining trust in the American culture. You know, like we talk about missing Dan Rather, trusting the news. God save us if we ever stop trusting librarians. Yeah. I have often sought their counsel when trying to find an obscure bit of information, a special book, or maybe a direction to take. Of course, these days, libraries are doing so much more than books and media, more than story times and research. It's laptops and board games and tools and seeds and sewing machines and energy monitors, warmth and running water, and helping people bridge the confusing world of social services. Some of these things AI is never going to be able to replace. I believe libraries are central to the health of any community, a portal to new realms for individuals, a place of wonder and curiosity for me. Postscript pro tip. We got one earlier. There's huckleberries across the street. Okay? Mine is explore the children's section of the libraries, right? With your body. Get in there, do the stuff. People work hard to build it, and it's really a remarkable perspective to take on life.
Our reading this morning is from an essay written by Brian Doyle in his book titled From One Long River of Song. Your library is where the community stores its treasures. It's the house that imagination built. It's where all the stories that matter are gathered together and celebrated and shared. It's exactly like a church, it seems to me. People come to it communally for something that's deep and ancient and important beyond an easy explanation. Who you are as a town is in the library. It's why when you want to destroy a place, you burn down the library. People who fear freedom fear libraries. The urge to ban a book is always an urge to put imagination in jail. But in the end, you cannot imprison it, just as you cannot imprison the urge to freedom, because those things are in every soul. And there are too many souls to jail or murder them all, and that's a fact. So a library is a shout of defiance, too. If you think about it, a fist in the dark. To my beloved church community, here we are, gathered this Sunday. And as has been so often the case, we find ourselves on the crest of another overwhelming news cycle, one that has many of us feeling afraid, sad, and angry. I am so grateful to have this place where we strive to support each other and find ways to maintain hope and resilience in our shared values as Unitarian Universalists. One of my heroes, Fred Rogers, famously said, "When I was a boy and saw scary things in the news, my mother would say, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.'" I believe that public libraries and the librarians that work there are some of these helpers. Today, as we are looking for hope, I want to celebrate this special institution with you. As Shelley also said, I love the library. I loved books well before I could read. My parents have said I had a funny habit as a toddler of making stacks of books and then moving them from room to room throughout the house. And my mother likes to brag that I never tore pages or drew in any library books, ever. Perhaps even then, I had a sense of their specialness. And I loved to go to the library because that's where all those precious books lived. Do you remember going to the library as a kid? And perhaps you saw a glimmer of it up here with our little ones up front. There's a whole section there just for you. And you can explore, pick out your own books, follow your own curiosity, play and learn at story time. I remember walking in the library and feeling a sense of, I can only describe it as expansion. The world felt bigger, and I felt independent. That kind of thing makes a big difference to a young person. It's a feeling I still carry with me into libraries today. If we're in the car and my kids ask, "Where are we going?" and I say, "Only to the greatest place on earth," they know that we're going to the library. I love taking Tilden and Myra to story time at the Happy Valley Library to see Mr. Isaac. Tilden would stand directly in front of Mr. Isaac and stare up at him with such rapt attention as we learned to sign the More We Get Together song. And Mr. Isaac would regale us with puppets, songs, and stories. I loved being there with my kids, but I also appreciated the other parents, because being a newish parent is often isolating. And it just felt good to exchange those glances of mutual and knowing exhaustion with other parents. I felt less alone, more part of a group. That was good. While I think that a massive collection of books is one of the best treasures there can be, truly there is so much more to our libraries than books. In a society where there is increasing social isolation, where capitalism with its waste and status obsession runs rampant, the library stands out as a place of community, a place with ideals of inclusion and service for free to its patrons. I have a special window into all that a library can be and do because my mother is a librarian. She worked in libraries from the time she was 15 until her retirement, nearly 50 years. In that time, she was a children's librarian and the very beloved storytime lady of our town. When she got her master's in library science, she became a reference librarian. She helped people find good information, learn how to search for jobs, use the internet, and get connected with books and stories that enhanced their lives. She's still solid at book recommendations. If anyone needs anything, I'll pass it along. As a teen services librarian, she also led a teen advisory council that gave teens a voice in the spaces and programmings that spoke to their needs, their interests, and talents. What an incredible breadth of service. When I saw my mother at work in the library, I saw someone who knew her community, who believed that the library was for everyone, and safeguarded the dignity and safety of the people who participated in that space. I am so grateful to her and the many librarians that expand learning and community in our world. They are the reason that libraries can be a place of sanctuary for so many people. We need libraries now more than ever. Libraries are these physical spaces, but they're even more than that. Library associations are often at the forefront of critical battles for basic freedoms. In the 1960s, civil rights organizations founded grassroots freedom libraries that granted access to Black Americans who had previously been barred from accessing libraries in the segregated South. These libraries served as critical hubs for organizing within the civil rights movement, and people used and staffed these libraries sometimes and often at great risk to themselves. But this access to books, this access to a communal space was that important. This spirit of courageous librarianship contributed to our ideal of what a library can be and helped ground future library associations in a commitment to equity and service and access to books. Today, we have a library system that's firmly committed to fighting censorship, protecting privacy, ensuring equitable access, and providing critical services to their home communities. Across the country, libraries have been establishing book sanctuaries to ensure access to endangered books and provide programming and support to educate the public about censorship. This has been done even in the midst of virulent attacks by groups seeking to restrict access to books that provide representation for LGBTQIA+ relationships, identities, and concerns, as well as books that address uncomfortable history through the diverse lived experiences of marginalized groups. Librarians have fought to protect these books and our access to them, sometimes at great personal cost. Libraries stand up for the privacy of their patrons. Do you remember in the wake of 9/11, the Patriot Act? It included a measure to pull the checkout history of library patrons as a means of surveillance. I felt so grateful when the American Library Association offered up a direct challenge to this at a time when so many were afraid to stand up. Libraries have since chosen to regularly purge checkout records and adopt minimal data techniques and continue to be committed to protecting the privacy of all their patrons. As we face the reality of climate change, libraries have been serving as cooling and warming shelters, offering protection to people without access to air conditioning or reliable heating. Literally, they are providing life-preserving services to those in need in their communities. I could keep going. Just in my neighborhood library, I have access to seeds for my garden, parenting classes and resources, Spanish story time, poetry reading, help with taxes, a canning kit, and countless online resources for any project or skill I could possibly imagine. Friends, libraries and librarians who work there are a precious resource, one I am so profoundly grateful for. Last year, this current administration tried to eliminate funding to the Institute of Museum and Library Services, an organization that grants critical dollars to support public, academic, and school libraries. So far, courts have blocked attempts to eliminate this agency, but it is clear we cannot take our libraries for granted. For all they give us, they need us too. How do we safeguard this precious resource? There are so many ways, and most of them are fun. First and foremost, use it. Go there. Boost circulation. Participate. Vote to support libraries in your community. If you can, volunteer with Friends of the Library organizations. Participate in school board meetings and library board meetings and push back against attempts at censorship. Celebrate this special place. Make it clear that the library is absolutely, unequivocally indispensable. It is the beating heart of our community. It is a lifeline to our neighbors in need. I hope this week or in the weeks to come, you may take the time to walk into your neighborhood library, be with your community, and look at all the helpers.